Good morning. It's Max again. It's roughly 9:11, and I've decided that right before I hit my morning workouts, I'm going to make a couple of more videos that I think that could be really helpful for other people, and I think would be very helpful for myself. Um, so the first video I'd like to make this morning is kind of continuing talking about cutting bad friends off and like signs of a toxic friend, because there's dozens of them out there, and I don't think I can really sum it all up in just a 5 or 10 minute video. But this morning, for my first video, I want to talk about friends who admit no fault, like friends who cannot admit that they did anything wrong, that they can do anything wrong. And I think this is an important one, because I think this is something that's very common with other people and very common within ourselves. But I think everyone, at least once in their life, has been in a situation where they've been in an argument or in a fight or a conflict with someone else, either a coworker or a friend at work, and you end up being the bigger person, and you admit that you did something wrong, or that there is something that you could have done to avoid the situation, but yet the other person, for some reason, just can't seem to really find fault with anything that they did, even though they might have been like the primary instigator of the conflict in the first place. They just, any opportunity that they can to just blame it on either you, other people, or their circumstances, they'll take it. And this is one of those friendship qualities that I think isn't necessarily a deal breaker, but it absolutely can be one if the person is really bad about it. Because the thing is, and I think everyone can really understand this, is that, we as humans never want to admit that we're wrong. We never really want to find fault in ourselves or admit that we contributed to an issue. But the truth is that, anytime that, like 9 times out of 10, anytime we get in a fight with someone, usually both people are at fault to a degree. Now, even though one person might have been the primary instigator of the argument, or one person might have been like the primary aggressor, there's always, to a degree, something that both people could have done better. And to me, anytime someone is not willing to admit that they ever do anything wrong, or that they have no faults, to me, that just, for one, that shows poor accountability. Like, people who are truly accountable for themselves and for their actions are never afraid to admit that they did something wrong, or that they could have done something to change it. And for one, if you have a friend who never admits to their faults, for one, that shows poor accountability. 2, I think anyone who's had to deal with this can admit to this too, but it also shows a lack of maturity. People who are truly mature, who are really mature individuals, are not going to be afraid to admit when they're wrong. And anytime you meet someone who never admits to their faults, at least to me, and I know a lot of people will agree, it makes you look really immature. It makes the person makes themselves look really, really immature if they cannot admit that they ever did anything wrong. And this is especially true when it not just for friendships, but it's especially true when it comes to things like on the job things. Like, if you ever have a manager who screws everything up, but yet they never admit that they did anything to contribute to that, but instead they just blame all of their employees. That looks so bad. That looks really, really bad. And if you're the type of person who never admits that you make mistakes, or can never admit that you make a mistake, you do not want to bring that into the workforce, because no matter how perfect, like, you or someone may think that they are, someone else will always find fault with you. And if you're someone who never admits that you do anything wrong, or can't admit that you ever made a mistake, that's gonna hold you back, and it's gonna make it really difficult for you to establish strong and healthy relationships with other people. So that's my first video for today. know, if anyone's watching this, feel free to comment or subscribe. And if you've ever had a friend who can never admit that they do anything wrong, or can ever find fault with themselves, you know what I'm talking about. And you know, like I said before, you know, life is short, and most people, especially as they get older, they don't have time for immaturity. They don't have time to wait for you to grow up, or to wait for people to grow up. So that's my video for this morning, and you all have a great day.